them are more than pals.
Our show can be a little gay,
But if you're not,
that's okay.
you can listen and have fun either way. Xena, Star Wars, Doctor Who, guests and music and reviews. Game of Thrones, Winona too. We promise there's something for you. She nerds out. We're girls that like nerdy things. Nerdy things.
Hello and welcome to the She Nerds Out podcast. I'm Kat.
I'm Wendy.
This is Tara.
On today's episode, we have a mail sack. We've got some nerd news, and you know we're going to purgatory. Plus, we're going to finally talk about Agatha All Along. But first, hey, Wendy.
Hey, Kat. We have some birthdays,
All right.
including this first lovely person who is in one of my favorite movies. Her name is Jen Urso, daughter of Galen Urso. That would be Felicity Jones.
Ah.
Oh.
Oh, I have no idea. Oh.
By the way, I think that the ending of Rogue One, I believe, is my favorite ending to a movie ever. And she was born on October 17th, by the way.
Oh. Felicity Jones.
What year? That's the question.
Whew. Tara?
Man, this is a hard one. She's
so
British. It's hard.
It is hard with the Brits.
They age differently over there.
And I haven't watched that. I mean, I've probably seen her in one other thing.
Oh, okay. Me too.
Other
actually.
than
I
Rogue
don't know.
One, So, and that movie came out how many years ago now? So it's hard for me to gauge, to think how old I think she was back then.
Okay, well, that was 2016.
Oh my god.
Okay, so
I don't know if I've seen her in anything else, to be honest, but
I'm
I
gonna
love her in that.
say turning 39.
I'm going to go 42.
41.
Oh, I
Hey!
almost went with 41.
Born
Dang
in
it.
19.
I just didn't think she was older than me.
Well,
She's British.
British.
She is.
See, it makes it hard because they just look more
Whisker.
mature and sound
They
more
do.
mature.
Exactly. It's hard.
Mature.
It's really hard.
You heard me.
Said what I said.
So I always think they must be younger than they
Right.
are. Okay.
All right. On October 18th, here's a gentleman who has 138 credits to his name.
Whoa.
He's been in a lot of things, including Terminator 2 and Eureka. It's the greatness that is Joe Morton.
Oh.
And if you don't know who Joe Morton is, look him up. You know who he is. You've seen him. He's one of those guys who shows up everywhere. Law and Order, guest parts.
He played
You've seen Joe
Dr.
Morton.
Dr. Miles Dyson in T2, right?
Yeah, who invented the technology that
Yeah.
kind of led to.
Skynet.
He was in Justice League. Yeah, Skynet.
Joe
He's
Morton.
done a bazillion.
I'm going to go with 71.
Oh. I was going to say that. I'm going to say...
Were ya?
I was. I'm going to say 75.
Okay, and I got to do
She's
the
doing
math.
math. I could see
think he
it going in
turned
your head.
77.
Oh boy, this is a tough
He
one.
was born in 1947.
Okay, so we're both wrong.
The important thing
know.
is
What did y'all guess? Because I was already
I
doing
go
math.
guess 71 and
That's right,
75.
because
Yeah.
he'll be 80
77.
in 3 years, so he's turned 77.
I did the
Wow.
math.
Whew.
Wow.
Exhausted.
Good for him.
Love me some Joe Morton. He's awesome. And
He's
Tara, we
great.
love. He was in Eureka. He was really. I thought he was old then. I mean, he was, but he was probably like, I don't know how.
I missed that show. Wish we could talk about that show.
Yes,
Wish there's a
Eureka was
reboot or something
amazing.
fun happening, but no.
Great show. All right.
Erica
Last-
Sarah was in one of the best of recent Hallmark movies last year. That mystery one, Mistletoe Mystery. I don't know. Something.
I like
it was
Erica
good. It was
Sarah.
good. So good, in fact, that they moved
She
it
played
from
Joe-
Murders and Mysteries and re-aired it on regular Hallmark. Anyway,
Really?
kidding.
Wow.
Find out the
Yeah,
name.
she played-
Well, I can look it up. I want to see.
Yeah, it was a really good one. It was like actually well written and was like a good movie. No offense.
Actually, a lot of them are well
I
written.
love Hallmark movies, you know
offense,
this, but
but
this one I was
everything
like,
else
holy
is
shit, am
crap.
I actually watching like a really good movie? Okay, I'm way off. We're way off now. Who's
Okay,
next?
well, I'm gonna have to go research that. Next up, is someone that I discovered in the Mission Impossible movies. And now she is starring, well, she's been in a lot of things. Dune, but also Silo on Apple TV. That is Rebecca Ferguson, born on October 19th.
Aren't you obsessed with her? I feel like you're obsessed with her.
No, not anymore. I mean, I liked her in the Mission Impossible stuff, but now it's like back when like a lot of people didn't know who Rebecca Ferguson was. I was like, she was really hot in the Mission Impossible films. I mean, I like her, but I'm not like woo.
Okay. Not like, I'm gonna guess 42.
38.
41.
Oh,
41, right. Just like Jen Urso. She was born in 1983 on October 19th. By the way, season 2 of Silo starts November 15th, 2024.
Whoa.
And
the
trailer has just come out for it. So
wow. Are we sponsored by them? You seem to know a lot about that show.
For someone not obsessed.
Like you mean like when it comes out?
Yeah.
I do know when it comes out.
Like the date?
Because I looked it up like I do.
By the way, the Erica Sarah movie is called Mystery on Mistletoe Lane. BTW.
Ooh.
In case you see it replaying on Hallmark this season, give it a watch.
Check it out.
What was it? Murder on Mistletoe? What is it?
Mystery on Mistletoe Lane. There's no murders.
Is it a murder
wasn't
mystery?
There?
I don't know. This one's. I don't think it's.
What's the mystery?
I'm not giving it away.
Like stolen cookie recipe?
No, you have to. They move into an old house. You have to just watch it.
They have murders on Hallmark.
I guess they do on the murders, the mysteries, and whatever Hallmark.
Which
the darker, grittier, the Law and Order Hallmarks.
The darker side of Hallmark.
Discover a Christmas mystery.
It's like
Santa. Their historic home.
Santa's embezzling money or something.
No.
Luckily, a local
family is running an embezzlement
helps.
scheme. Yes,
I love it.
And there's a local handsome handyman to help solve the mystery.
Of course there is.
Will they find love? Tune in to find out.
Will they find love? I sure hope they do.
That's the mystery.
Well, I'm not giving it away.
We're right around the corner from talking about Christmas movies, so maybe we'll talk about it.
You gotta get through Halloween first, Kat.
Trust me, I'm not in any hurry. There is a 12-foot skeleton in my front yard right now.
I was gonna ask how that's coming along.
It's coming along. We're slowly getting everything set up. So
the fencing was up when Wendy and I popped those over there.
The cemetery is up.
It's a good looking fence. Where do you guys store that in your in your garage?
It
you guys
rolls
rebuild
up.
it? Oh.
Yeah, it just rolls up. Yeah, you can get that just at Home Depot or Lowe's. We don't use Home Depot because they don't like gay people.
Okay, yeah, I'll get some at Lowe's.
It rolls right up. You just throw it in the attic. Good to go.
In the attic. That's a good attic thing. I never know what I can store in the attic.
We have so many bodies and skeletons. Like it is
bodies and fake ones, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Talking about murder.
I'm just always afraid that things are just going to melt. Like all my decorations are just going to melt up there in the heat.
Well, what you got to do is you got to get one of them, one of those exhaust fans.
And I got one in here.
Does it turn on like when it hits a certain temperature?
No.
Okay, so
I have to turn it on.
Got it. Yeah,
and open the doors in here and all that stuff.
Got it. Well, we got one installed, and it turns on when it gets to a certain temperature. So
yeah. I don't know. I'm not fancy like you, Kat.
Okay.
It took me a long time to get an iPad. I don't know when I'm going to get a programmed exhaust attic fan.
It took you years to get an iPad.
Oh, that's right. I forgot you used to fight us on that, didn't you?
Oh, she used to make us feel so bad about it, Wendy.
I forgot about that.
Well, now I'll make you feel bad about your bougie attic fan.
So bougie.
That is the sign of
I'll just keep putting my stuff in the garage where it's 10 degrees cooler.
We've made it. We have an exhaust fan.
Anyway.
Can only dream.
All right. Well, before we go to the mail sack, I just have to plug Fan Fusion because I am moderating in just a couple weeks. I'll be in England, y'all, so I won't be here to talk about this stuff with y'all. But I'm moderating a bunch of panels. So
yeah, you are.
It's going to be very exciting. So right now I'm posting on our Twitter and Instagram. You can also email us if you have any questions that you would like to maybe be asked during a panel, I'm asking that you either post them on there or you can email us at shenerdsout@gmail. So Katerina Scorsoni will be there, Amelia Eve from Haunting of Bly Manor, Tori Anderson from NCIS Hawaii, Melanie Field from A League of Their Own, Katie Strickland from Private Practice, and Olivia Scott Welch from Fear Street, and ER Fight Master from, of course, Grey's Anatomy. So some really awesome guests. And, if you have any questions, I'm just throwing it out there. Now's the time to do it as I'm prepping for that. So do it.
How many panels are you moderating, Tara?
I think there's 4 or 5 right now because they're in groups. So they're not each getting their own panel.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
great.
They're kind of different combos.
Hopefully we get you some good questions.
Got like the doctor's panel with Katerina and Katie and ER. And then kind of a more horror panel with Amelia, and Kiana Madeira, also from Fear Street, had to cancel. So, yeah. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, but a lot of prepping. So that's what I'm doing the next 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah. Great. Well, let's get you some questions then.
All right. Yeah, do we have some mail? We got some mail. We haven't read some mail in a while because we've been so busy.
We have. And so we have an extended mail sack, but we decided we're going to do a mail sack mini-sode to get caught up on some stuff that's like weeks old. But we have some mail that we've received since our live from Earptopia podcast aired. And we want to do kind of a clean slate for this episode. So,
okay.
I'll start us off.
Okay.
With an email. This is correct, right? Called Kudos to You.
Yes.
There's a lot I'm sorting through. So
there's a lot.
Tiny writing. Okay. Hey, Snop. That's the title.
You can zoom in there.
No, because you know what? Well, I guess I could. My little wheel on my mouse is broken. But anyway.
Oh man.
Hey, Snop. Congrats on getting to be at Earptopia and talking to Emily and Danny. So happy for you guys. You definitely deserve it. I hope y'all had a great time. Oh, Ewans definitely deserve it. I thought it was a typo, but I think it's meant to be Ewans. Because Weans, I hope, did deserve it. As for Moo Dang, she's definitely cute, but have y'all seen Pesto? I have a soft spot for penguins. Pesto is a baby king penguin, and he is already bigger than the adults. He is a huge, fluffy cutie. I believe he is in the Australian Zoo. I'm looking up Pesto the penguin.
Oh, Pesto's cute. Oh my God, he's giant.
Why is he so big? Was that a thing?
Oh, he's huge.
Why?
I bet his fur falls off.
I think it's he's mostly fur. I would guess.
Oh no! Oh my! So is that normal though? That even with fur, they're that much bigger? Or is it like an abnormal thing? I don't know.
Caretakers chalk up his unusual size to a hearty appetite. He eats more than 25 fish a day and good genes.
Well, that's just poor ownership. Who's managing this penguin's weight? That's like when a cat or dog gets so fat and the owner's like, oh, look how cute it is. It's like
no.
Somebody's giving him or allowing him. They need to put him on a diet so he can have a healthy weight.
Well, apparently
I wish someone would do that for me.
His father is Blake, another king penguin, as you would imagine. And Blake is like the biggest and oldest penguin at the facility. So it's just his genes. He's big boned.
Okay, well, I'm going to keep an eye on Pesto. Make sure.
Okay.
Good God. Here he is compared to a human woman. He's enormous. He's bigger. I thought he was just big penguin size compared to other penguins.
We don't know how small that woman is.
You see which picture I'm talking about. She's like down, kind of on her knees.
Yeah.
And he is up to her mid-face, up to her mouth.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's a big boy.
At 9 months old.
And look, he's not trying to kill that woman. So already I'm a fan over Moo Dang.
Pesto's very cute. Let me do a little shout out because I saw another little baby animal named Biscuits the seal, and I saw a post about Biscuits because Pesto and Moo Dang were getting all the attention, and they're like, please don't forget Biscuits the little seal.
Okay.
So Biscuits is pretty cute too. It's like a little gray seal with spots.
Oh, okay. Biscuits is super cute.
Vancouver. So
look at those
there's lots
eyes.
of cute babies out there. Oh, to treat you biscuits face.
Biscuit.
So I don't want biscuits to get excluded from our chat.
I love you, Biscuits.
Well, Pesto here is there's a video of him walking around with the other penguins, and there's like a penguin walking in front of him, and the video is captioned "Our Chonky King working it," and one penguin is walking in front of Pesto and looks very oblivious, and Pesto looks like some sort of Godzilla lurking behind it, but he's just walking.
Lurking.
But he looks like this penguin in front.
I'm guessing
doesn't know what
is more.
My goodness,
more the term.
He's a big boy.
And Biscuit is the seal.
Yeah.
Okay. The baby seal.
He's very cute. Those eyes. He's like he wants you to hug him.
It looks like he can barely move. Like he's got a lot of chunk to move around those little penguin
He's gonna
legs.
grow out of it. He's got his baby fat. He's gonna grow out. He's gonna hit puberty and get like really tall and lean. He's gonna be fine.
Oh, he's great. Oh, baby animals are the best. Sorry, Carrie, we could turn off your email. I'll continue. Also, as for the WWE, or we say in East Tennessee, wrestling, I hadn't watched it since I was in high school, but my 12-year-old nephew, Haston, loves it, and he has gotten me back into it. Let me tell you, Becky Lynch, a.k.a., quote, the man, is amazing. She is gorgeous, fit, and badass. She would be my number 2 behind Katie McGrath on my list of hot women. Rhea Ripley is also a fan favorite. She broke all the lesbians' hearts by getting married to a guy last year. Rhea is known for looking like the lead singer of a hard rock band called Motionless in White. His name is Chris, and she has used his music for her intro music score. My nephew even has had a wrestling-themed party for his 10th birthday, and I dressed up as Ronda Rousey. Nice. Yes, she made an appearance as Rowdy Ronda Rousey. Mm. And I made a belt and did my hair like her and drove in playing her intro music. It was epic. Pictures, please. Also, I would only do that for him. Haha. I'm a hush about the WWE, but now it is worth looking into. Also, I'm very aware that Vince McMahon, who was over WWE, is a piece of shit.
Boo.
Boo.
Very problematic man.
Yeah, not surprised. I don't know what his problematicness is, but he never seemed like someone who wouldn't be problematic. So
I won't tell you.
Shocked.
It's not good.
Really?
It's terrible. Okay. He's bad.
I'll Google it. Okay. This WNBA season has been better than I could have imagined. Then why can't I read? This WNBA season has been better than I could have imagined. The Indiana Fever and Las Vegas Aces are both out of the playoffs, so that leaves me rooting for the New York Liberty. The WNBA finals started tonight, and the Liberty lost at home in overtime after being up by 18 at one point. This is going to be a great series. I hope everyone keeps watching. I know viewership dropped after Clark's team dropped out of the playoffs, but this final series is going to be great. Sabrina Ionescu plays for New York, and she was Clark before Clark. She played for Oregon in college, and her senior year, COVID happened, so her year was cut short, and her team would have won the national championship that year. Also, I don't even know where to start on Wynonna Earp Vengeance. Looking at it as something that was supposed to be seen by anyone that didn't have any knowledge of Wynonna Earp, I would say it was great. Looking at it as an Earper, I still loved it. I loved all the references, throwbacks, and fanfare. I also understand that the things I didn't like were because I needed more information or elaboration, and I know that they couldn't do that in the time frame they were given. I'm looking forward to the Audible series and any more content they are willing to give us. Until next time from the holler, Carrie.
And just quickly speaking of Vengeance, we need to continue to watch it. Tubi is still looking at numbers. You know who loves Vengeance? Dogs, cats,
cats. My cats have seen it a few times for sure.
Just let it run, man. And so don't let up on that. We're still trying to get those numbers up. So continue to watch and rewatch. And I think pets really are into it. It really resonates with pets, I think.
Yeah. Was it released in the UK? I think it was either just released. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's out. Yeah. I think it's out. Yeah.
Good.
So.
For our UK friends.
Yep.
It's my turn. Okay. I've got one from Beck. And Beck, there is no subject. And also it starts with, oh no.
Huh.
There's no hey
Should we
nerds
just-
or hey shirts. Okay.
Should
I
we
guess
just?
we just go on then.
But should we just do
just-
our own? Should we just?
Well, hey, Beck.
Hey, Beck.
Hey, Beck.
Oh no. I don't have a stomach anymore. It dropped so much that it fell out and ran away from me. It dropped when Queen Andras walked on that stage, and I remembered that she sometimes listens to this podcast and that I had sent an email the other day when I was a bit worked up. I mean, I still stand by it and I still say I wanted more and I liked it, but my stomach still dropped when I remember I had said that. Maybe next time I'll just stop for like a minute and take a breath. Also, since emailing the other day, my kids have joined the Agatha train. I have not been able to stop singing the Ballad of the Witch's Road. It annoyed them so much that they asked what it was. Oscar is loving it, and Waverly had no idea what's happening at all, but acts like she does. Oscar is very into Rio.
Same.
When she appeared in Agatha's house with her little blade and that hood thing she had on, he was just staring at the screen unblinkingly and said, "Whoa, Mom, she looks so cool." Same, dude. Same. All right, we're going to talk about some Agatha.
Yeah, we are.
And, I think Emily is pretty forgiving. She respects the different opinions of
Yes.
things. So, yeah, I think you're okay, Beck.
And we even
Yeah,
asked
for
her, like, when I went up to her table to get some stuff signed after our recording with her, I was like, yeah, by the way, like, I'm so sorry. Like, she's like, don't censor your stuff on your own podcast. If you want, I can stop listening. I'm like, no, that's not what I'm asking. I just want you to know we respect you. But I think she respects that we're not just kissing her ass all the time. So anyway,
No.
we're not going to stop being honest. That's all. Hey, it's my turn. I have an email. It's from AK. And the subject...
Yay,
Yay, Kay. The subject is a celebratory horn emoji.
Or, no, okay. I don't know exactly what. Is that one of the, like, streamer thing that you like, like a brrr, one that makes noise and stuff pops out of it? What do you call that?
Horn?
I don't think it's called a party horn. Maybe it is, but yeah, like an exploding party hat. But I don't know why is that. Okay, anyway, we get the point. Party.
It's a party.
Party horn.
I think
I
it's
like the word
called
party horn.
party horn. My dudes, you killed it. Thumbs up emoji. And the Destroyer Andras wants to come on the show properly. Woo-hoo. Man, that was so good. Applause. Your live shows are a blast. Great job. Thank you, AK. Appreciate it. I love doing live shows. I wish we could do them all the time. But sadly, we can't. That would require having an audience wherever we go. And that would be hard to do. But yeah, Andras has said now publicly that she wants to come back on. I think we're going to have her on for after Audible drops. So we have something brand new to talk to her about. So that'll be great. So look for that. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks or so, maybe we'll see. But for sure, she'll be coming on, and that's really exciting.
Nice.
And then again, we're going to have a mini mail sack episode later this week, and where you'll actually, we kind of did it out of order. So like what Beck is referring to, the email, we haven't actually read that yet, and we'll be reading it in the mini mail sack. It's a whole thing. But it's fine. It's fine.
Time jump.
Hey, let's do some nerd news.
Nerd news, nerd news. I repeat, we have breaking nerd news.
Well, someone on this podcast called it when talking about the Fat Bear Week, and people were like, no, this other bear's better. We don't like female bears. We specifically
I don't remember
like
saying that.
moms.
Exactly. Oh, wow. I definitely don't remember saying that.
But no, Grazer for the second year in a row is the grand champion, the fattest bear week. And she did it while being a mother. She had 2 cubs that she had to take care of. And
Working mom bear.
there's a story I could tell you that would really upset you.
No,
don't,
You know what,
don't.
Grazer?
Let's,
I'm happy
let's
for
just
very happy
say
for Grazer.
that Grazer, not only did she win, she avenged She
Yes.
avenged the bear that she won against. Let's say that a life was
Good.
avenged.
Yeah, I'm glad she won now.
So Grazer, I'm so proud of you, and good luck in hibernation. And we'll see you in 2025, Grazer. I got my eyes on you. You're my girl. You're my big girl. I love you. She's she's beautiful. She has like sort of a lighter blonde color fur, so she's really easy to spot and stuff. But boy, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of that big beautiful bear.
Charlie just got jealous hearing me talk like that about another
Oh no.
woman animal.
Well, I mean, come on. Charlie is my favorite big beautiful brown dog.
Says, I'm a big bear. I'm a big bear, guys.
He is a big bear.
She looks like a bear.
Yeah, she can be bear. That's a good Halloween costume for her.
Speaking of dogs, Wendy, I'm going to let you take
Maybe.
this one.
Maybe dogs.
Mexico mystery.
Okay, let me just say. All right, well, here's the premise. There's a video released by TMZ, which is most of the time trustworthy, even if they're sleazy, but not always.
Yeah.
But they released a video. It says, here's the little story. There's a mystery brewing down in Mexico where surveillance footage appears to show a dog running down the street and morphing into a human. And I like how they had emoji human arrow dog. Yeah. Cat, I think you're like, hey, this looks kind of maybe. And I'm like, I want to believe, but come on. For one, let's describe the video. It's a white blob that goes behind a pole and lengthens to a skinnier blob. Possibly.
First
with
of all,
legs.
the footage
don't
looks like
even
it's from
know.
1992.
Exactly. The original morph
graininess.
starts when conveniently you can't see it, but I mean it continues a little bit.
It doesn't even look like a morph to me. It just looks like a dude on his hands and knees running across the
and
ground
then
and then
standing
stands up.
But
and
then where
runs
does
for-
the
because
white?
it looks
I'm
like he's
looking for
on the
white
ground.
shirt though. But then the white of the shirt kind of disappears. But maybe
You
it's
can't see shit.
Years.
no, you cannot.
But also, here's the thing. Like,
It's also that he's running from the dark into like being
Light.
whited out,
Mhm.
and it's like
Mhm.
it's terrible. It doesn't even. It's terrible.
It's
like,
terrible.
quality.
the quality is shit. Absolute shit. Here's my 2 cents. If this were a fake, visual effect shots are easier if they're static, if they're not moving. So the fact that the camera kind of follows, it makes it harder to fake.
But that
And
I don't. Is the camera following? I think it's just a cropped. Like it was probably on a wider screen, and they edited it to essentially follow the. You know
concur.
what I mean?
Let's
like,
watch the
they
time
do that
code.
a lot.
Watch
Can we
the
get-
time code at the top. It pans to where
Is there
the
an
time
original?
codes.
Where did this come from? Can we see the original footage?
Right, like
Yeah.
someone is
I think you're right,
videotaping
Tara.
a screen or something
Uh-huh.
and moving the camera with the object. It's not, and I think there's a wider version of the shot.
I'm gonna look at the true source of truth in this world, TikTok.
Yeah, because you
That's
can.
where you
Yeah,
know
you
of
can.
all
You
the
see
alien
this
crashes.
literally at the end of the video. You see where they're panned over, and then you see the timestamp in the
Yeah.
actual video.
I don't know where it
'Cause they
came
just-
from, but
So this is a wide shot.
so yeah, you can
Someone's
see the
cropped
whole
it down
wide
to
video
just where
on
the
TikTok.
object is.
So it is one shot. Okay, I found
one shot.
I found it on Main's. What is this? Main. It doesn't matter. It's a website. Let's see. I'm going big here. Let's go big. You're right. It's a static shot. Well, then that blows my completely out of the
Yeah,
water.
you know what? Even with that, people do amazingly ridiculous things with their home computers and effects. So even if it's moving, I still think if that's someone faking it, I think they could have done it even with the movement. But
Well, let's say this is an absolute hoax. It's actually really smart to use because you could make this look like fucking Terminator 2, right? But because it's so low quality and because it kind of gets weird, it's actually more credible to me because it's not as high quality, right? It's like that's a little too convenient. I don't know.
I mean, I'm
I don't
looking at
know.
it on YouTube full out, and I don't know. It kind
It's
of
tough.
to me looks like a guy who comes in from the side. He like stumbles and then gets back
He's
up.
Right.
But he's
The
moving
frame rate is so
He's moving
low.
pretty fast though. Like for that first part before he quote unquote morphs, he's moving awfully fast to run. Have you guys ever tried to run on your hands and knees?
I don't
See,
think
that's what
I don't think he's all the way
I
down
think
on his
he's
hand. I think
falling
he's
forward
well, I think he's
and gets
crouched
back
down
up.
and running like you're running when you're hunched down, like trying to hide behind something like that fence. I don't think he's not on his hands and knees because look how high the fence is.
Oh,
Probably a
hold
good
on,
4
hold
feet.
on, hold
Uh-oh.
on.
Breaking news.
If you go to it on YouTube, I got a little chills right now. There's some sound of dog barking at the beginning.
Oh boy, because that can't be put in there easily.
That
Yeah,
might
oh,
just
no.
make it definitive. You can hear a dog bark.
Oh
boy.
shit.
That
Does it
can't- now
sound
that
like
can't be fake.
Woof.
Turn it up
Ruff.
again. It
Ruff.
sounds like oh, it sounds weird. It's like oh,
No, you mean like not a dog?
like a werewolf man dog.
Maybe we're looking at a werewolf, guys.
All right,
All right,
I'll
I'm just
I'll give
saying.
you the maybe we're looking at a werewolf.
Thank you very much. Prove that it's not a werewolf, Tara.
I guess I can't.
Aha. Case closed.
Busted.
So yeah, chime in. Maybe we should repost this from the Snop and let people kind of weigh in, or you could just Google Mexico dog man morph. That's how I found it, the full image. But I'd love to hear. Yeah, let's hear what people have to say. I'd love to find out what people think of this video.
And watch it with sound because that makes it creepier.
Ah, I love that.
Wow. Okay.
So earlier this week, or what day is it? I guess it doesn't matter. What's a day? A few days ago, an article from Autostraddle. We love Autostraddle mainly because their lists are absolute crap, but they have good interviews. And they talked to Lily Wachowski, who of course you'll know was one of the writer-directors of Bound and The Matrix and all the things. And so very low-key, tiny little subtle mention in this article of none other than Emily Andras. And as it has come out that Emily and Lily are developing a comic together. They're adapting a comic into, I would imagine, a series, or it could be a movie, maybe a special. We don't know. But it's based on the comic Cosmonites, and you can go to cosmonites.space and actually read book 1 and book 2 of this comic. And it's lesbians in space, and how exciting to have two very talented and queer, positive creators trying to bring this to the screen. I'm very excited. I'm here for it. Let's go.
Let's go. Yeah, I'm looking into Cosmonites now. Gaze in space is how it was termed.
Yes.
Huh.
It's the comic is by Hannah Templer, and I've started reading the first comic, the first book. I have not finished it, but listen, it's lesbians in space. Like, what else do you possibly need to know? Who knows where in the process they are? Maybe that's something we can ask Emily about when she comes on the pod. But boy, that's exciting. Very, very exciting. Let's do it. And Emily I'm guessing she has so many projects in different stages of development that eventually she's going to need her own network of just Andras TV,
Yeah, I'd be here for it.
Me too.
By the way, if you go to the website for Cosmonites and you wiggle your mouse around, the sky wiggles.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, it's like if for whatever reason, like the whole sky like moves with your mouse.
That's cute.
It's kind of fun.
Oh, that's fun. Look at that.
Isn't it cool?
Hey, look at that. And if you're just a fan of The Matrix, this interview is great. On Autostraddle, they talk a lot about the making of Matrix and the casting process, which was apparently they had to fight for Keanu to be in the movie.
Well, it sounds like did they fight for him, or is it kind of like they went through all the A-list actors that were given, like basically you cast one of these people and none of them wanted it. And then they're
No.
like, well, let's do Keanu. And they're like, oh, he's not an idiot. He's asking deep questions. And
Yeah, and he wanted to make the movie the way they wanted to make the movie.
Yeah.
And yeah, it sounds like he was the right guy for the job. And can you imagine anyone else but Keanu in that role? Like, you can't.
But I like what they said. Back then, though, Keanu wasn't like, oh, cool, Keanu. It was like, Keanu Reeves. And then that came out and you're like, oh, now he's kind of cool.
Yeah, he was kind of a joke back then.
Yeah.
And now he's fucking John Wick. Like, he's like Mr. Action Guy. And also one of the nicest guys in town, apparently. So there you go. Canadian.
No, that explains it. But I like how even when they got Lawrence Fishburne, they're like, all right, you can have him, but you got to shoot in Australia. Like, you got to cut the budget somewhere if you want him. And
Yeah, sounded like a struggle, that whole movie with the
Yeah.
studio. Go figure.
and then Carrie Ann Moss, they're like, yeah, she's fine. We've heard of her. She's done
Yeah,
stuff. She'll
they
be
weren't
fine.
they weren't as
They didn't care.
invested in the female lead. Go figure. Like, whatever.
Yeah, it's
Put her-
whoever. Throw whoever
Yeah,
together.
who cares? Nobody cares.
She's just the girl.
Yeah, nobody gives a shit about the girl.
Well, speaking of female leads that people are invested in,
Hey, yeah.
let's talk about Agatha All Along.
Okay.
Oh no, I'm too early. We're supposed to go to purgatory first.
I mean,
Let's
we
do that
can.
first. No. Let's do that first.
She Nerds Out presents live from Purgatory.
I got excited. I thought there was a good segue.
It's okay.
We'll
We
come
can-
back to
good.
that.
Yeah.
Save it.
There are other female leads in purgatory that people care very much about. Too.
That's where I thought you were going. I'm like, oh,
Nope.
that's a good
It
segue.
must have been surprising for you.
It was.
Yes, we're back from Earptopia.
We're back in town. We were all in Calgary together. How cool was it that we got to all go to Calgary
Very cool.
together?
That was a
How-
blast.
That was
Forever
so fun.
thank you to them for inviting us because I had
Yes.
such a good time.
Big shout out to Earptopia organizers. Alex, I know, was lobbying hard for SNOP, so thank you, Alex. And of course, Jill and Lindsay and Lynn. Those 4 individuals worked their asses off and they killed it. It was such a great convention. You wouldn't have known it was a first time con. And yeah, huge success. They treated us very nicely.
That was their first con.
That was their first convention that they've ever
Whoa.
organized. Yeah, all of
Have
them.
they helped with others and been involved in others, just not running? Because I've seen
Certainly.
them before.
Yeah,
Right
so Jill has helped to run auto rooms in the past. Alex has volunteered in the past. I think they've all been involved. Jill moderated with me
Right.
at EDE. And she went back for the 3rd year for EDE to moderate. So yeah, they've all been involved in different ways, but this was the first time they've, taken on the impossible task of running a convention from zero. And they did a great fucking job. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like, and plus, not even that, they did the Didsbury thing. They had so much going on. They dealt with issues. I feel like they
Yes.
probably, in their experience, they took all their experiences and said, well, what do we like? What do we not like? What can we do better? How can, learning from experience, because the little touches were great. Even like the program guide, the little back of the name cards. It just
Yep.
felt very well run, very organized. The audio video team they hired was on point. They were amazing.
Top notch. Those guys were amazing. I've never had such good experience with guys before. AV guys in general, but also AV
believe
guys.
how well it worked with Mel being zoomed into our panel, the Vengeance panel. Cat, it was amazing.
We woke up on Saturday
My
morning.
Zoom calls at home don't go
These
that
Zoom calls.
smoothly. I just had
No.
an interview the other day where I couldn't hear the other person couldn't hear me. I couldn't figure out why. So
So we wake up Saturday morning early, like everybody else. We find out via Mel's Instagram post that she missed her plane and that she was so sorry she couldn't make it. And so we had been told, okay, Mel's coming on Saturday, Vengeance panels on Sunday. Have some questions that we'll have Mel answer on a video, and then we'll play the video.
and everything was
great.
planned. Another again shout out to the Earptopia crew because they
my
had
God.
that huge wrench thrown in.
Huge wrench.
Everything had been scheduled around Mel on
Around
Saturday
Mel.
because she could now, due to filming, only do that one day.
Yeah.
And then they had to reorganize everything again.
Everything.
Yeah.
And so we're like, okay, well, I guess that's that. And we'd only had those 4 questions for Mel prepared because we knew she wasn't going to be on the Vengeance panel to begin with. Like, she was going to be Saturday. So great. Okay. So that goes away. So then Alex comes to me in the middle of the day Saturday, and she's like, there's a chance that we're going to get Mel to zoom in, because Mel wants to do it. We would want, we know that the fans want it. So like, just keep that in mind. I'm like, Tara, we have to come up with some questions for Mel. And so they worked their asses off. They made it happen. So on Sunday morning, when we had our snot breakfast, oh no, that's right. We had snot breakfast to prepare, and then we had a vengeance lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And poor Wendy just sat there and listened to us.
Yeah. I don't know if she really listened, but she was there. She was there.
I heard things.
I'll say, considering that we had not planned on Mel being a part of the full panel, Tara, I think we fucking killed it.
Yeah, we did pretty good.
It was pretty
Y'all
seamless.
were fantastic.
And the Zoom worked perfectly. Shout out to the
She hear us
AV
okay.
guys.
We could hear her.
It was amazing. And it was really fun because I got to have the laptop that Mel was zooming in from was right in front of me. So I could just sit there and look at Mel the whole time. It was really fun.
I was on the way other end. I had a harder time seeing her. And
you were all the way in Saskatchewan, I think. You were so far away.
I think the only thing with those panels where you have one moderator and then the other, I could tell they were so confused as to which one of us was speaking and
Greg
asking
kept
questions.
Looking back.
And then I saw one point where Kat almost looked a little terrified, like, "Oh my God, now it's this person behind me again talking."
Because you were right next to Kat.
Because they're so good. They're so good about being like engaged and invested and keeping their attention on the speaker and then like addressing the audience. And then all of a sudden, this voice comes from behind them and starts asking. And then they just gave up.
What was your favorite scene?
It is tough. I mean, a big panel like that is tough for one person. Like, it is nice to have a partner,
right?
Even if it is a little confusing for the guests, but they got used to it. They figured out which way to look.
Did they?
Anyway,
I don't know.
Well, eventually. Anyway, I'm just proud of us. That was a hard panel, and it fucking worked out great. And again, big shout out to Alex and everybody who made that happen. And then we have to acknowledge that our SNOP, the timing of all the special guests of our SNOP live episode recording, it's as if we planned it and we didn't.
No,
it was incredible.
We hoped that maybe one or two of the people would appear at some point.
Yeah,
but we had no idea when. Just a hope and a dream. And then maybe if you are told, hey, this could happen, or it is happening, and you get a message right during, you're still like, are we sure it's happening? You still don't know, like when.
Yeah. Well, you can see in the video, which will be coming out eventually, you can see Wendy and I are constantly looking to the side because we're expecting someone to come walking through.
And we kept hearing noises. And a door. And so every time we hear something, Tara's out doing her thing with our pin the parts on the Mercedes game. And then Kat and I are involved, and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, who's that? No. And then
I really didn't even realize Danny had come on stage.
No,
at all.
You had no idea, which is perfect. We're like, come on.
Yeah.
And about the time we're getting close to the head going on, I'm like, it's because we've been told about 10:45 and was getting close. I was like, is this going to work out exactly right? And I'm looking, and then I see, was it Sam?
Sam, yeah.
Pop around the window, the curtain, and then the person's kind of like fumbling with the head. I'm like, okay, just stick it on. And then Danny's walking towards stage. I'm like, just stick it. And then as soon as I see it stick, Danny has just sat down, and I'm just like, it worked. And then it's like, here she is. And Tara kind of was like, oh my God.
Danny's here.
And Tara turned around and seeing Danny like, I didn't even know.
Incredible. So huge shout out to Sam. Thank you, Sam, for helping us to get Danny, and Anne, who helped us with the, helping the
secure
pin
the limb on Mercedes. Not pin the part. Come on, guys. Pin the limb on Mercedes.
Pin the limb. Thank you, Anne,
I came
for
up
that.
with a whole catchy name for it and everything.
Well, Tara, you killed, you created that whole Danny, the Mercedes prop. Like, that was all you.
Painstakingly edited and picked the screen grabs, and then had to, the way they were, because it was in 720, because Tubi doesn't do 1080. The old magic lasso tool on Photoshop didn't work as well as you'd hoped. I had to manually go around most of them and pin them out, but they ended up, a local TPH, the print house in Calgary, very helpful.
Nice. Shout out.
Because I had to walk to get Mercedes limbs, and I had to explain to the woman. I said, "Look, before I show you what this is, I have to tell you it's for a show. It's for a fun thing. These are not just dismembered pieces of a woman.
Of a woman.
This is an actress. And see, haha, it's for this thing." And yes, she laughed. She said, "Oh, I love it."
Thank God.
She got it. Yeah.
Well, you did a great job, Tara. That was amazing. It was perfect. It exceeded my expectations.
Were they pretty low?
They were no, they're very high because the two of you guys do incredible Photoshop work. So I knew it was going to be good, but I didn't realize it was going to be fucking fantastic.
I didn't think it would print out as nicely as it did. Just
perfect.
the quality of it, but.
And then you had her sign the head, right?
She signed the fanny pack.
Oh, very good.
I'm going to display the head with the fanny pack, but I just thought the fanny pack's a little more eye-catching and less creepy when a head is with the fanny pack rather than just, She would have had a sign right on the forehead, I guess, there. But
that was a good call. Yeah. And of course, big shout out to Jackie, our producer, Jackie, for making that Emily appearance happen, and that was great too. And could not have asked for a better recording. So that was
really
so much
didn't
fun.
Have any idea when Emily might, again, that was great timing.
Luckily, the way they set up all the rooms was that the panel room was between the autos and the photo ops. And so, like, people literally had to just walk through the back of the panel room
behind
to get
the panel.
Like, it was, like, conveniently located. Like, it was easy to grab people. And so everything just kind of fell into place. So, Earptopia, thank you guys again so much. It was so fun to be there. And I hope that we get to do more live recordings together as a podcast because it was a blast.
Mm-hmm. And then the rest of our trip, forgetting that our fun didn't end there. We got to go to Banff on Monday.
That's right.
And Tuesday.
Yeah.
And we saw some Northern Lights.
Yes, we did.
Yes.
Spectacular.
Some people saw them more than others because my phone is crap and I couldn't see. I could see that. I could see it. Just didn't take great pictures.
Sure.
But when we went out to dinner and Noe at one point went outside to check and she came back. Oh my God, run out. We all left the dinner table.
We did.
And went out. Deserted our waitress. I think we left one person. Or did Alex stay? She's like, I've seen him before.
Well, you stayed first, Kat.
I stayed first.
Yeah. So did I think.
And then Alex came and was like, just go.
I've seen him before.
Thank you. That was incredible, guys. Like, I've never seen anything like it. It didn't feel real. I'm still like just in awe that all that happened, and we got to experience it together. It's like, forget it. That's a core memory,
We did the Banff gondola. That was really fun.
That was fun.
A little bit scary. There was a goat of yes, he was very cute.
One goat.
Just one.
And the gondola stopped midway for a minute. Mm-hmm. And we all decided that it was kind of fun. We were hanging out here. I'm sure someone's just taking an extra second to get on the gondola when they're switching. It's fine. And we're like, ooh, okay. And it didn't start going again. And then you realize, we're just teetering. What's going on, And so, but we lived, obviously, and made it. And Kat, we were in different gondolas, different little cars. And you said you were just about to tell a fun story about an experience you had, but why don't you go ahead and can you let us know why you decided not to tell that story in that moment?
Sure. I was like, this will distract everybody. This will be a fun little story. I'm like, you know what? I'll wait. I'll wait to tell you later. And then like about a minute. And so Wendy and I were in a gondola with Laura, whose birthday it was, and Jackie. Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the four of us are just up there, and then all of a sudden, the thing stops, And I'm like, well, I'm really glad I didn't tell that story. Because when I was in New Zealand, for the first time, I was by myself. I was in Queenstown, and they have a gondola, very similar vibe. You go to the top, there's like a restaurant and a bar, and it's a beautiful view, blah, blah, blah. And I went up there, I had a meal. On my way down, halfway down this giant mountain, it stopped.
It's dark, right?
It's
You don't
dark.
have to watch the sunset. Yeah.
And it stops, and it had been raining, and then the rain really picked up, and it turned into hail, and there was some wind, and there was some lightning. I was stuck in there for an hour, and I was by myself.
That just like makes me like,
And I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go with it. It's fine.
there are no phones, right? Those
Oh,
like
no.
you couldn't use,
I had no idea what was happening. There were few people up there to begin with, so like I was like, well, there's a chance I stay here tonight. At least I had a meal.
The gondola holds. Yeah.
As long as it holds. And it was definitely, I mean, I was able to laugh about it because, when you're on vacation, you're like, nothing can happen. Like, this is all, nothing goes wrong on vacations. So I'm glad I didn't tell that story because I would have felt responsible.
Then that few minutes that it would have felt like an hour probably.
Yeah. But it worked
terrifying.
out. It
How
was
long
great.
do you think we were stopped, realistically?
A minute?
3 minutes?
You think?
Oh,
No, I
not
think
even
it was
3?
like 3 minutes. I think
It was
3
a
minutes.
while.
I feel
go
like it was 3
minutes-ish.
minutes.
I'll give you 2. I'll give you 2 minutes.
All right, we'll go
Okay.
2.
It feels longer, right? When you're going through a thing.
That's why I'm not like it was 10 minutes. No, it felt like 2. Because you're like, oh, this is okay, it was cool. But then there comes that point where you're just like, why are we still hanging here?
Well, like
Yeah,
let's say
I'm
it
nervous.
did. Let's say it lasted longer. Like what point do you guys start to get like really nervous? Is it 10 minutes?
Maybe.
I mean,
10
like,
minutes is a long
really
time.
nervous. Like,
Yeah.
I was already starting to feel, and I'm not like afraid of heights. I was enjoying, like I was with Banana Cat and Anne,
Yeah.
and
Noe.
yes, and Noe. So Noe and I sat the way that was going up backwards essentially, but then you could see like how high you were. You could see everything. Whereas facing
Right.
the other way, you just see the trees as you're going up. Because we were fine, and even after, again, I stand by that it was 2 minutes, maybe about that I was okay and just enjoying like, oh, this is so nice. We get some extra time on here because the whole ride is only 8 minutes. The whole the
Right.
ride up.
It was
Pretty
8
fast.
minutes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't
So-
know it was so long.
See, it feels like it's longer.
Yeah. So I was already starting to feel it, but I would start really panicking, especially because there were some kind of like a speaker or something in there, or they could talk to us. If no one was talking to us,
Right.
yeah, I'd say like 10 minutes, 20. I'd really start to be like, what the fuck? I'd be yelling like, what the fuck? Outside the window.
Oh my God.
Like yelling down at, seeing if another gondola person could hear me. Do you hear anything? Maybe I'd start to think like my speaker wasn't working,
Right.
like something was, I don't know.
So let's say we're still on there. It's been an hour. It's starting to get dark. At what point do you decide, okay, how do we get out of this thing? Can we tie all of our flannels together and rappel down?
I think at that point, Noe and I would have been killed by Anne and Kat.
Oh,
It
and
would
for
be-
sure.
Storing like food. They would be doing what they need to do to survive because they were scared going up there, like
They would, like,
legitimately
Donner
they-
party going on here.
Do you think
I
you
don't
can
know.
open the doors from the inside if you
I
wanted to
think
get out?
There must be an
Can you?
emergency release.
Oh, I don't
you
even,
think?
man, there's a
I
bunch
feel
of
like if you could
dum-dums
open
in there
the
though,
doors
like,
from the inside, people might.
You can open plane
Jump out.
doors from the inside.
Well,
I
Good
don't know.
point.
I think they'd have a lot of incidents on their hand if there was any way you could open
Right.
those doors, like deliberate and otherwise. Like,
All right.
I don't
Let's look into that.
because
I'm looking now.
in what way would you need to? Because it was enclosed in glass and they had like a slide up window that no adult person could fit through.
No.
Um,
You could definitely push a kid out though.
you could push a kid out, but not an adult.
A tiny kid. The windows were.
If you push hard enough.
Oh boy. Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's an emergency
Maybe
release.
somebody out there works at a gondola and they can tell us.
Let us know, because I don't know. And then what do you do? What in that
don't know.
situation?
don't
Then you
know.
got it open and you're dangling.
Well, like, what
I
if
would
probably,
maybe,
like-
wave something, like I don't know if anybody could see it, but like wave something out that tiny window, like, hey,
you
someone's
could
in
fit
here.
an arm out there,
Yeah, an arm maybe.
Well, like, okay,
Yeah,
what if?
Okay, that's what we do. We take off one of our flannels. We'd wave the flannel through the
There you
Okay.
go.
and through the hole.
Yeah. And then what?
And then I just hope someone saw, because it's a little bit remote. There's a town down there, but like nobody's looking up at the gondola, and it's dark.
No.
There ain't no lights. You're on the side of a very dark mountain.
So, okay, here's another scenario. Let's say we're stuck. It's getting dark. And then you're close to one of the towers and you can see the tower and you see that someone is fucking with the tower and you feel that like the gondola is starting to like drop.
Jesus.
Do you just hold on or do you try to jump out?
No, I would hold on.
I think I hold on, but
Try to jump onto like a tree or
like
something.
80 feet tall. Or
there
something.
weren't any trees near there. They're all far, so you don't hit them. At least
Alright,
I
well.
guess
one
it
we were
depends on
on.
where you were. There's only a
And how
short
deep is the
time where
snow? Is
maybe
it really
it's jumpable.
snowy?
Right. If
If it's just ground, then no, you'll. But maybe it's better than. I don't know.
you don't even know what's under the snow. Could be you spear yourself on a tree. I don't know.
And look, it's not
real
like
messy.
there's no seatbelt. So if it falls, it's not like you're in a car, like you're protected with a seatbelt. Like you're
That's what I'm
flipping,
saying.
You're flying
You're fucked.
around.
And then you're going to roll down the hill. Anyway, it was a lot of
Ann
fun.
and Kat,
Look,
and
if
listen to this
Ann and
episode.
Kat are listening to this, they're never going on a
I
gondola.
encourage you to
again.
go on the gondola at Banff. It was
It's
great.
very safe, very
Well,
pleasant.
none of these bad things happen, so.
No.
Ay, ay, ay.
Ugh.
Anyways, it was a great trip.
Yeah.
And the next day we went to a lake and it was beautiful.
Oh, yes,
Lake
like-
Louise.
It was.
Oh my
Very
goodness.
blue glacial lake.
Just gorgeous. That whole area in Alberta is just like everywhere you look is a postcard.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
It's very fresh. Lots of so many pines. Felt
Yeah.
very smelled like pine.
Yeah,
You know,
it was
it's really.
pretty magical.
Yeah, we shopped in the little Canmore town.
That's right. Canmore
Very
was
cute.
a cute little town. Had
It felt
some
like
good food.
definitely like a Hallmark town.
It did.
You know,
Yeah, it had that feel.
definitely could film some Hallmark there.
Yeah, they probably have.
Thanks, Canada. It was fun.
It was great. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
good trip. Can't wait to do it again with y'alls.
Yeah. Okay, now are we ready to talk about Agatha All Along?
Let's do it.
All right. So, how in depth are we going into this thing? I
mean, we can.
well, first of all, spoiler alert. Spoiler
huge-
alert.
Yeah.
If
say,
you
like- Go ahead. Continue.
if you have started Agatha but you're not all the way caught up, we're going through episode 5 that just aired. So, by the time this comes out, there might be another episode out. Probably not. Not maybe. Okay, anyway. But if it comes out on Tuesday like it normally does, there will not be another episode yet.
I would say that let's we don't have to go super in depth into each episode. Maybe we
Okay.
go into in depth at the finale.
Okay.
We'll do it like
Yes.
a deep dive in the finale, but we can talk about generals, specific cool moments, performances, all that kind of stuff. But we don't have to go like that would take a really long time if we did
Okay.
each 5 episodes.
We don't need a 2-hour podcast again. We're trying not to do that for Kat's sake.
We're trying. We're trying.
Okay.
We're trying.
So we got Agatha. Agatha's a spinoff of WandaVision, as you know. Now, Wendy came over. I'm already starting a long-winded story. Wendy came over to work on another project on
We had
Saturday. And I said, oh, well, we can watch Agatha. She had to catch up on a couple of the latest episodes.
Nice.
So we watched 4 and 5, or 3, 4, and 5. And then after we watched 5, we're like, oh, well, let's go back and watch 1 and 2 again.
Or
So-
one. We just,
Oh, did we only watch 1? Okay.
yeah.
So I've got to see almost all of them twice now. So very interesting. And I definitely noticed some things.
Okay.
So we have Agatha first of all, the whole nearly the entire first episode is shot in the credits scene, like Mayor of Easttown. And the whole time I was watching it was like, okay, let's say, was Mayor of Easttown even out when WandaVision was out? Like when this was written, what would the plan? Mayor of Easttown fit so perfectly with it because it's Agatha of Westview.
Yeah. It may have been out.
Like how,
before.
what a perfect way to parody that. So it's Agatha still in Westview living in this, under the spell, essentially that she's been put on under by the Scarlet Witch.
Yes.
And then we see Rio. We meet Rio, who's brought in under this guise of Mayor of Easttown. She's a detective solving a murder. Yes. And Rio's brought in. She's from I don't forget what her name is in the Agatha of Westview.
Yeah.
But she's the FBI.
It was Agnes,
person.
I think. Agnes something.
Well, Agnes, yeah. But Rio had a different name.
Rio.
Okay,
Yeah.
So she's brought in to help on the case, right? And there's definitely some tension there, and it's kind of pretty comical as far as Agatha really playing up the Mayor of Easttown, the kind of cantankerous.
So good.
Yeah.
That was
so
fun.
We can obviously tell there's something going on there. And as Agatha finds some stuff at the crime scene that, some little clues in there that indicate that things are not as they seem. She finds, some like a brooch with a chunk of hair in it. And she's at the library looking for this book that was stolen. And it was there's a lot of little clues. The name of the book spells out the acronym Darkhold, which is something we learned sacrificed her child to essentially get this Darkhold book. So she's back at her house. Rio comes over, just to spitball about the case. And at that time, I remember thinking, I wish this was the real show. I would really enjoy this, but I knew it wasn't going to last. But, so there's definitely more tension. And Officer Vidal is what her name is. And she asks Agatha, do you remember why you hate me? And Agatha says, no. And she asks her, are you hiding evidence? And Agatha says, no. And she says, oh, good. You're only lying to yourself. She knows that she's hiding evidence, that brooch she found. But she can't, says she can't remember why she hates Rio. So we know there's some background there.
Yeah.
And Rio again asks, is this how you really see yourself? And Agatha keeps thinking she's being a weirdo. Like, why are you asking me these weird questions? Yeah. So there's a very subtle mention of a car crash outside of town. Perhaps this is where the body could have been moved from. Maybe there's a car with blood found in it. So maybe the body was in this car and moved to that location. And so while she's in her house, Agnes now, hears some rustling and goes up to find a teen in her closet at that time, something like that, looking for something.
Yeah.
And Agatha chases the perp through the streets of Westview, and eventually, I think it was Mrs. Hart that actually almost runs him over.
Yeah.
And so she takes him in for questioning. This is where things start to really kind of unravel. She's like, did you kill this woman? She slams some pictures down that are supposed to be the dead body. The teen is like, these are just pictures of flowers. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And so Agatha thinks she's going crazy. She goes to see the body. But when she's at the morgue, because she's trying to convince herself that this is real, that she really saw the body. In lieu of the body bag, there's like a tag. And instead of a tag, it is actually the library slip with the name W. Maximoff on it. So then we get the connection. Did you guys see the Doctor Strange movie with her in it?
I did.
I did not. So I don't know. How did that end? What was her fate?
She was I don't know.
Okay.
Was she
Thank you for that.
was she taken to
I
some
thought she died.
She did.
Was
I
she
feel
crushed by
like-
something? Because that's what happened to her in this.
I don't think so.
Episode.
Let me hang on.
Okay. Well, you
She's
look that
brought
up.
down the Darkhold Castle atop Mount Woodmundagore in the last. Hang on. I feel like
Okay. You find out what happened to Wanda. I'm going to go on because while she's at the morgue, Agent Vidal pops up out of nowhere, and Agatha is, distraught. She's not sure what's going on, and she tells Agatha to claw her way out. Essentially, she says she's trapped you here in this, referring to Wanda. Are you
Right.
watching a video now, Wendy?
I was trying to see the ending, and it just took me to a stupid commercial. And I couldn't mute it. I was trying to play an Agatha thing. I mean,
Just
Wanda.
like,
Wanda.
she's started the movie now. She's gonna watch it.
give me 2 hours.
I'll let you know. But Marvel confirmed she died in Doctor Strange. So
Okay. So she's dead.
She died.
She did.
So, Rio's encouraging her. Now Agatha is starting this effect where she's pulling off clothes. She's like, oh, is it hot in here? Is it hot in here? She's pulling off clothes and she's going through all her costumes from WandaVision.
Yeah.
The different eras of Agnes or Agatha.
Yeah.
Agatha. So then she finally kind of comes out of this trance. And, she essentially appears back at her home. She's naked. She walks out the door. And I remember there being some posts about this, like, oh, Disney, you're just letting naked women be on your network now. And it was stupid. She literally has her hair covering her boobs, and all you see is her, butt. It's not.
Well, Tara, the naked, the female form is an evil, corrupting thing. And so, God forbid, Disney has anything to do with that.
Right. God forbid that your child should be watching something that was clearly rated for, higher up ages.
Exactly.
Anyway, so she goes to talk to the neighbor. All the neighbors that you see, or many of them that you see in WandaVision, are in this as well.
Very fun.
At least in this first episode, they are sprinkled in.
Yeah.
So Emma Caulfield, and I don't know the names of the others, but there's at least 5 or 6 other neighbors from WandaVision. So he basically tells her, yeah, you've been acting kind of weird lately. You're kind of a shut-in, but we've been trying to help you. You've been really on a true crime kick. So I guess you've just been walking around town, in her mind, all these things happening around her. But totally. I would like to see that from the neighbor's view, actually.
Yeah.
So she goes back and she's clearly looking for something. She finds a rabbit, which I rewatched the first episode of WandaVision and remember that Agnes had a pet rabbit.
Ooh,
so the rabbit's fine.
Good find.
Yeah. So then she hears a thud. She goes back upstairs. She realized that Teen is real and she had tied him up in her closet.
Yeah. Oh, Teen.
So, and if he's real, that means Aubrey Plaza's character is real as well. So now we get a visit from Rio, now the Green Witch that we're told that she's the Green Witch. So we'll see. We don't really know much about her background yet. But she's not happy with Agatha and she's essentially trying to kill Agatha at first, I think. Is that right?
She has a dagger and she's going for it.
Right. But Agatha convinces her and says, no, wait, I'm weak and feeble right now. Wait till I get my powers back. Then it'll be more fun. And there's clearly some sexual tension. I think we maybe talked about this a little. Clearly. I think I posted it on our Snop account. There's hand licking of blood and a lot of close talking and sexiness, chemistry. So she buys herself some more time. And that's when she realized, oh yeah, Teen's still here. So I think the episode ends pretty abruptly. So the second episode is where we really get into more of the witchiness and the coven. And that's where we meet the other members of the coven.
Yes, who I love, each and every one of these people.
Right. So first they go to a psychic reading shop where they meet Patty LuPone's character,
The
Lilia.
legendary Patty LuPone.
Yes.
Wow.
Then they go in search of a potions witch. By the way, thank you, Deadline, for helping us make this any kind of, coherent.
Appreciate you, Deadline.
Yep. Where they see Sashir Zamata, Jennifer Hale.
Who was great from SNL. You probably remember.
So
She's
running,
super funny.
Yeah, but running a bogus wellness shop.
Yes.
And then the next witch is a blood witch working at Hot Topic. And that is Allie Ann's character of Alice, right? And her mother, Alice's mother, is a powerful witch who is rumored to have been lost on the Witch's Road.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like a Stevie Nicks character.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the witches have assembled. They go back to Agatha's house. And Teen is just along for the ride. He's familiar. What we learned in this episode is that Teen, we can't hear who he is. Whenever Agatha asks about him or where he's from or who he is, this like squiggly line, this creepy squiggly line appears, like almost like his mouth is stitched shut. And it's like, it's like kind of, I like the sound that goes on.
Yeah.
It's very ominous.
Good sound work.
But he's just talking and he's thinking like people can hear him fine, right? But Agatha sees that and she's like, oh, interesting. But she doesn't tell him what's going on. She just lets him talk. So that's interesting. So she's got her coven now because she needs a coven to access the road. Now here, she's going back on the road to get her powers back. Is that correct?
I believe so.
Okay. That part was a little gray
the
for
why
me.
of it. Yeah.
Yes.
I believe so, right? Wendy, does that make sense? I think
so.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But they need one more person.
Right. They need a green witch, right? Like an herbal witch or something.
Yes. So they go and pick up Mrs. Hart, aka Sharon, played by
Sharon.
Deborah Jo Rupp. And because I guess she's a gardener and I guess that works for them.
Close enough.
Really, I guess close enough.
She's got a green thumb. So
She's got her coven now, plus Teen, who's just there. A familiar is what they keep calling him.
Yeah.
Or pet. So meanwhile, the Salem 7, these creepy witches all in black, show up in Westview and they're like coming for Wanda.
Yeah.
They're coming very slowly. I'm kind of like, if y'all just would have hurried up a little bit and not made such a show out of it, you probably could have caught up to them before they made it to the road. Anyway, they sing a very catchy song.
Oh my God, this song is so good.
The Down the Witch's Road song. There's a lot of harmonies going on.
Yeah.
It's very like, it's not a complicated song. I think they only sing one verse of it, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
But it sticks with you. And I saw a lot of posting about the song being stuck in people's heads. And I agree because I find myself just singing it sometimes.
100%.
The Witch's Road song. So they make it to the road. This episode ends there, that they have made it down and have gotten down there just in the nick of time, beating these creepy Salem 7 witches all dressed in black. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Phew. All right. So then we learn what's up with this show. It's going to be a series of trials for this coven. Okay. So the first trial, they're on the road. They find a house where when you go into it, they are transformed. What would you call this era? This is like, they all look like kind of like waspy housewives almost a little bit like
almost like
Hamptons
or Pretty Little Lies kind of feel. Women of leisure who drink a lot of wine.
Yes, the wine. I highly disagreed with the poem about the wine. So they get a little instruction card and it's like a riddle, and it was something like, I get better with age. I'm no fun alone, and you can't have just one of me. Something, something, something.
Yeah.
And then they found out it was wine, and I said, I beg to differ. Wine is a lot of fun alone for me. Like, I don't know. It's plenty of
I
fun.
agree.
I would have ruled out wine completely if that were me. Anyway, so they go through, essentially each witch has a purpose. So having to find certain things, they each kind of have hallucinations. That's where we get the first hallucination from Agatha of her son.
Right.
Where it's like a baby cradle and it's a crying baby, and she lifts back the blankie, never do that, thinking, oh, cute little baby's going to be there. But instead, it's the dark hold. And then baby's like, meh, and then she wakes up, and it's a.
So we learn that like she gave up her son for this powerful tome, right?
Yes.
Like,
so when
the whole time Agatha's like, she's an anti-hero, right? Like, she's not a good person,
right? No,
she has very selfish,
which she's
agenda.
made very clear. Like, no one is buying, and the coven is buying that she's like doing this for them or the greater good. They all have their own agendas too.
Yeah, they each want to get their powers back in different ways. But yeah, like, she's, you're rooting for her, but like, she's a bad guy.
Yeah. But one of the big takeaways from this episode was when Teen and Jen have a kind of a side conversation, and Jen mentions, oh, well, she gave up her son for this Darkhold, and no one really knows what happened to him. She didn't say he's dead necessarily, just no one knows what happened to him. He could be a demon. He could be working for Mephisto, which was sent off a bunch of alarms for all the Marvel nerds, because that's a big character in the Marvel verse. So we're thinking an agent of Mephisto.
Okay.
So it was just a kind of felt like a throwaway line, but was a big deal, I guess.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So they do some things. There's some trials. They drink the wine, which poisons them and makes their faces all puffy, which is very similar to, if you've seen, what was it? The Melon Clickbait. Of what Kat's character in Clickbait looked like. That's kind of what their faces to a certain degree. So then after they're poisoned by the wine, the potions witch has to make. So it's kind of Jen's trial, right? So she even has a comment. We look like my customers. We look like these, these types of women. So she's able to save them, figure out the potion. However, Mrs. Hart at one time was having such a good time with the wine that she drank 2 glasses instead of 1.
Yeah.
But apparently only received 1 vial of antidote. So as they're sliding out of this, escaping the house, they get out to realize Mrs. Hart is dead.
She dead.
Really dead, yeah.
I thought for sure, like, no, there's no way. Like,
Yeah,
they're
I
not
thought
going to
she's
get
coming
rid of Deborah Jo so quickly.
I mean, it ain't over yet, but
Right.
you never.
But still.
Yeah,
No,
I was surprised.
she's dead. And then someone made the comment, I think it was Patty LuPone's character, saying, well, I think she threw some shade at Jen, saying, well, she had 2 glasses of wine, and how many antidotes did she get, Jen?
Yeah.
And what the fuck? You all were there. Why didn't you all give her 2
Exactly.
antidotes?
Not Jen's fault. Not Jen's fault.
So anyway. So that's the end of the episode. Sharon is dead.
Sharon is very dead.
Yeah. So then we get back to episode 4, and they realize, well, now that we don't have Sharon anymore, or Mrs. Hart, and there's a funny back and forth with Agatha,
Who's
not
Sharon?
like, who's Sharon? Like, she knows her as Mrs. Hart. And so Teen is burying Sharon. And by the way, in the last episode, Teen kind of sticks up for Agatha a little bit and says, well, we don't know what happened. And, everybody thinks that they know her or whatever. So there's that. So Agatha calls Sharon a bad draft pick and tries to taunt the others and just says the more power for the rest of us. Right. And then there's a debate as far as, can they continue without the full coven?
Right.
There's kind of a joke about getting the lyrics to the ballad wrong. And so they actually need to get another Green Witch. So they do a summoning spell.
Mm-hmm.
Teen somehow knows how to do this. He's got his
Sure.
spell book, and he mentions, "Oh, we could just do it the practical way." Apparently, some people are inherently have the magic, and then other people, you can just say some words from a spell book.
You have to study like a wizard in D&D. You have to study to get your magic.
Right. So he's got a book. And meanwhile, I think it was maybe in the episode prior to this, when members of the coven are asking Teen who he is, they realize, they're like, "Oh, someone's placed a sigil on you." And he's like, "What?" And because Agatha didn't tell him, right? So they explain that, well, I think Agatha actually explains it in this episode, that the sigil is someone, because Teen asks her, "Did you put this sigil on me?" And Agatha says, "No, I wouldn't really know if I did or not. Maybe I did. I don't know, because when you cast the sigil, the person who casts it also won't know. And the only way to destroy it is to essentially, it'll destroy itself when it's not needed anymore." So it's, even the caster of this spell won't remember in order to protect the reason that they cast it in the first place. So anyway, they have to summon another green witch. Lo and behold, it's Rio. Rio pops out of the ground.
In a very disturbing way.
Yeah,
Yes.
pops is an understatement.
Yeah. Her bones pop a lot, that's for sure.
There you go.
Yeah. So she starts skipping down the path. She's very merry, happy to
She's
be there.
Crazy.
Yeah. So, but she does kind of have some side combos with Agatha.
Indeed.
Basically asking, "Are we in trouble? What's going on?" But then they come up to the next phase, which is a 70s style house.
Yes.
In which, when they walk in, they're all transformed just into some kind of 70s, very glamorous band going on here.
They look great. I love all these costume changes.
Yes, it says, Deadline describes them as a witchy Daisy Jones in the Six, or a witchy Fleetwood Mac.
There you go.
So this is the next trial, obviously, and we realize it is Alice's trial. So this has something to do with her mother. And thankfully there's some instruments there, because they can't figure out what this trial is all about.
Yeah.
So they are then a lot of shit's happening. I guess a demon is unleashed. A record starts playing backwards.
It's it's a curse.
Yes.
It seems like it has cursed Alice's family, and it's the physical representation of this curse is this demon.
Right. So she's like, "Oh, no wonder I couldn't hold a job," and all this other bad shit happened to me. And she has these, like, quote, birthmarks on her shoulders that are actually marks from where the demon was landing on her shoulders, like a winged demon, which is creepy.
Yeah. Very creepy.
But because her mom had her get this tattoo, it helped protect her from, I guess, the full curse, or what, otherwise she would have been burnt all up.
Right.
And then we realize that the record that's playing is the version that her mom sang of the Ballad of the Witch's Road, but it's playing backwards. So they then realize that that song was actually something that her mom sang in order to protect Alice from the curse.
Yeah.
And that her mom's fans were her coven.
Yeah. And because the song is like so popular, it's playing somewhere in the world all the time.
Right. And
so
protecting
that's what
Alice.
protects. Yeah. I love that. That was really cool. What a great idea.
So then they realize that, well, I forgot what I was going to say, but there's a lot of things to realize.
I'm sorry.
This. So they have to essentially sing the song in order to rid themselves of this demon, because it starts attacking everybody.
Yeah.
And so they are like, we have to play. So everybody picks up instruments. It's a very comical scene. But again, they have to play the Ballad of the Witch's Road, her mom's version.
Yeah, which is great.
So And it's again very catchy, very catchy tunes. Sung a different version. Aubrey Plaza's on drums.
Yes.
Agatha's singing. Patti LuPone is on, what are those things called? The little like ding, the little like
Yeah, I forget what they're called.
yeah. Bing. Anyway, so by playing the song, they're able to rid themselves of this demon, and also Alice finally gets rid of this demon.
Yay.
Yeah.
Oh, Alice.
Yeah. So
Enjoy it while it lasts, Alice.
meanwhile, somewhere in all this hubbub, Teen gets stabbed with some glass. So when they finally escape this hell, Teen kind of collapses, and Jen has to concoct something else to save him, which she does successfully. And someone correct me if it's this episode or the next one. I think it's this one, where Rio goes up to Agatha.
Yeah, it's this one.
And says, that just so you know, because after Tina's healed, Agatha's very concerned. She sits with him and has that conversation with him about the sigil. And Agatha, you're kind of wondering, could this be her son? It's kind of what they're playing it up to be. You don't really know. Agatha seems genuinely concerned. You're not really sure what's going on there. But Rio goes up to her. And first of all, there's an almost kiss. And I'll say, watching this with Wendy, there was an audible gasp. She went, ah! Because it was so close to actually kissing.
So
I never gasped like that. I don't know why I did.
Yeah, you went, oh. So much that we were laughing so hard about it that she actually missed what Rio said to her.
Oh, no.
We had to go back and watch it. And Rio again. So after Rio gets real close, more close talking, it says, Agatha, that boy is not yours.
Really kills the mood,
Right. And it really did. They were about to make out, and then she had to break that news. And Agatha's like, oh, yeah, sure. Okay, fine, whatever. And I'm going to take a walk or whatever.
Right.
So she just smirks, walks away, acts like NBD, no big deal, And now we're on to episode 5, and this was a big one.
Yeah.
So, let's see. So now, okay.
Okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No,
After
go.
you, I've talked enough.
Well, I don't have it called up.
Oh, okay.
Hold on.
All right. So the episode opens with essentially these creepy Salem 7 witches.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
When they summoned Rio to come be the Green Witch or a Green Witch, right? I guess they left their summoning stone, which left the gate open or something, so these witches could get in.
Yeah.
Whatever. So it opens with them starting to chase after them and on the road. And the witches say, we have to get to the next trial to lose them, which I guess I'm not sure why the witches can't go. The Coven of 7 can't go and bust up the trial. Yeah. But, okay, sure. That's the rule of the witches' road. I don't make those rules.
Yeah.
So we learn that this coven, the Salem 7, are the offspring of the 7 witches that Agatha killed and stole their power.
Right.
But let's note that when Agatha did that, they were about to burn her alive, and her mother was trying to kill her, and her mother hated her. But Agatha's power is stealing power from others.
Right.
So they were going to that coven was going to kill her. So she was kind of like, well, what choice does she have?
Exactly.
But she decided to spare their children and not kill the children too. But now they become, quote, a feral, hive-minded coven bent on revenge for their fallen mothers. Yeah. So then there's a comment from Agatha basically like, mercy's overrated. Basically, I should have killed them. And, So they run to their next, they don't run, they fly because they make brooms.
Very fun.
They make brooms, very handy that there's a bunch of wood around and some things, and they have to
they are in the forest. course,
Yeah, they have to do a cute thing, a spell where they have to essentially exchange. They have to make the broom for the other person, do a little dance. Now, I think,
Yeah.
what if you're alone? Then you can't have a broom, you know?
Yeah, you're fucked.
I guess that's why you have to have the coven
There you
on the Witch's Road. So
There you
there's
go.
a really cool scene where they're flying around, and I think, ooh, it's very hocus pocusy. I think, oh,
For
this
sure.
is fun, you know? I wish the whole show could be this, too. Then the road starts bringing them back down.
Yeah.
Doesn't let them fly because they're like, we have done this the whole time. So they fall on the ground. The coven's behind them. They have to run into this next trial, into the next house. And they walk in, and they're in 80s attire. So it has turned into like an 80s slumber party. And Salem 7 can't go inside for whatever reason. So they realize this is Agatha's trial, where the last one was Alice's, and then we had Jen's as well. So
Right.
now we have Agatha's, and a Ouija board pops out. So they realize they
No.
have to do
Never use a Ouija board.
no, the
It's
Ouija.
not
Say, don't do it.
bad news, guys.
So first it spells out Mrs. Hart. Agatha does a bit like she's Mrs. Hart, where she's faking it. Yeah.
That was very funny.
So then they do it for real. The Ouija board spells out death, and then
Ugh.
it says punish, and then it
Oh,
says
no.
Agatha.
Oh, boy.
Uh-oh. So then things start getting weird. And everyone, you know, the coven is kind of, Agatha's trying to convince them not to punish her, right?
Yeah.
But everyone's kind of realizing, well, I think we have to do it to get out of this trial, essentially. So then the lights go out, and they're like, where did Agatha go? Then you pan up to the ceiling. There's very creepy Agatha possessed on the ceiling.
Yeah, creepy as fuck.
Very creepy. Very creepy.
It's very like what's it called? What's the movie? Oh my God.
Exorcist.
The Exorcist.
The
Very
little
yeah.
scariest movie ever.
Exorcist vibes.
Yeah. So she's like feral. She's like, her skin's all gray. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
And so then the coven's like, okay, this is for real. She's not faking it. There's a funny scene where they're like, oh, she's faking, but then her like back snaps in half. Like she's walking like a spider. It's really creepy.
It's not fake.
And they're like, not faking it. Then a ghost appears.
Of course.
And we realize it's Agatha's mom. She is a bitch.
She's a bitch, man.
She's like,
this
you
lady.
were born evil. I
Well,
should
maybe
killed
she was
you
born evil.
the moment you left my body. And she wants the group to leave Agatha with her. And the group's like, okay. Like, mostly like, all right, maybe
Sure.
we should. But
Yeah.
this is where Rio steps up and says,
Oh,
no,
Rio.
you are not leaving her with her mother. So she knows about whatever issues are going on.
Yeah, she knows something that we don't know.
Yeah. So, a fight ensues. Alice decides to summon some of her power that she now realizes she has, I guess, some fire power, and is able to focus them on possessed Agatha, and it pops her mom ghost out of her.
Which is great.
Great.
Awesome. Yay.
However, then Agatha, with her powers taking powers from others, is like, ooh, and starts sucking the power from Alice, therefore sucking her all dry into a pruny little raisin. And Alice is dead.
Alice is dead.
Alice is dead.
I really liked Alice. She was my favorite.
Yeah. Teen is very upset. Isn't there anything you can do? They're all pretty much like, no. So the Ouija board starts moving. Teen runs over there, demanding to know what spirit's with them now, and it spells out Nicholas Scratch, which we have learned is Agatha's son.
Right.
So I'm just going to read it how Deadline wrote it here. Just as time is running out on the clock, Agatha stops siphoning when she hears her young son's voice pleading, "Mom, stop." So then all of a sudden the door opens.
to the trial and they're released from the trial. Like they can leave.
Right. Yeah.
So somehow Agatha was punished during that, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
So everyone now, including Teen, is very upset with Agatha, thinking that she stole these powers. Teen goes up to Agatha and says, "Why did you do that? You could have stopped it." And Agatha says, I can't control it. I couldn't control it, even though it looked like she was having a good time doing it, right?
Do we believe Agatha? Do we think she knew what she was doing?
I think she knew what she was doing, but I don't know if she can control it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Wendy, what do you think?
I don't know. I feel like maybe a little of both in a way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
it's hard to know. It's
hard to know at
because
this point.
You really don't know her true self. Like sometimes she's really nice and caring, and other times she just is very heartless.
It's like she seemed like sincere. That it's like I couldn't help it, but then she seemed again more like you gotta do what you gotta do. So I don't know.
Yeah, complicated character.
Maybe she didn't mean to start taking it, but then it just like, oh, okay, yeah,
right.
It's hard to know.
So Teen's upset, and then Jen and Lilia are basically, Teen's yelling at Agatha, "This is just a power grab for you," and then the other two are basically, "Yeah, it is kind of a power grab. It is for all of us."
Mm-hmm.
And so Teen says, "So that's what it's like to be a witch, killing people to serve your own agenda. Not for me." And this is where the big moment where Agatha smirks and she becomes a little creepier and leans in to close talk with Teen and puts these two fingers under his little chin and says, "Are you sure? You are just like your mother." And it looks like, and in that moment, you're like, "Whoa, who's his mother? Is it her? Who is the mother?" And it looks like she's figured out who he is. And then whatever that just sets Teen off. And then we start to see some blue magic flicker from his fingers, and he possesses Jen and Lilia, and they throw Agatha, because you can see the blue eyes that they have, same as his powers. They throw her into like the bog, and she sinks into the bog. And then he throws the two of them in the bog, and they sink into the bog. Meanwhile, we don't know where Rio is. We assume getting Alice or something like that. She's not out there with the four of them.
Yeah.
So then it kind of does this kind of slow like pull back, and Teen has kind of a crazed look on his face, and he is now donning a blue crown that looks like the blue version of one that Scarlet Witch, aka Wanda Maximoff, wore. And we are to assume that the mother is Wanda Maximoff.
Yeah.
Now, revealing him as the character of Wiccan, who I guess is an established character in the comics, queer character.
Oh.
Ooh. So, that was the big reveal. And I guess Wiccan is one of the young Avengers, so maybe he...
It's all coming together.
But people really loved the crown, and then they played the Billie Eilish song about "You Should See Me in My Crown."
That was great. Good music on the show.
Yeah. Thoughts on the series overall?
I love it. I love the vibe. I love the cast. I think Catherine Hahn is really fucking good. And yeah, it's fun. I have no complaints. I love everything about the show. I mean, Aubrey Plaza, sexual tension. Come on.
Yeah. I also am enjoying the show very much. I enjoyed rewatching the episodes that I rewatched, and I think it made me like it more. And it's not that I disliked any parts. I feel like with Aubrey Plaza and with Catherine Hahn and the cast, I feel like some of the jokes didn't land the way I wanted them to, or I feel like maybe their comedic talents, even that dry humor, just wasn't landing for me. Like I felt like I know those actresses can make that land, so I didn't know if it was a writing thing or an editing thing, and to me, parts of it felt a little slow. But I liked it more on the rewatch, and I'm not trying to say I disliked it at any point. Yeah. I really enjoy the vibe. I really love seeing them, Aubrey and Catherine, and but overall I like it. And I mean, this definitely makes it more interesting. The whole Wiccan. I was confused by parts. It's sort of like with sometimes with Winona. It's hard for me to keep up with the lore, what's going on, how it all makes sense. Yeah. I kind of felt the same way when I was watching this a little bit.
Okay, fair enough.
In that, like, some things were explained to me a little bit more on a rewatch, but I feel like some things were just supposed to just go along with, not really,
just go with it. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that's a very fair criticism.
Yeah. Wendy.
So, I generally don't. I don't do a lot of possession, Ouija board, demon, witches. I don't generally watch it. Like you're comparing it to The Exorcist. I'm like, yeah, I ain't never watching that again. So I don't generally, that's not the kind of thing I like. As far as this show and the production and the quality, I think it's fantastic. I liked the humor. I liked the subtle humor. I was cracking up. I think Catherine Hahn is perfectly cast. As you can't help but like her, but she might be a horrible person for witch or whatever.
Very charisma.
Oh right. Yeah, I feel like just her face, just her look, just everything about her is perfect for this character.
Yeah, you can't take your eyes off her when she's on screen.
And I think I like the direction they went. I like that it's this group of characters and on the road, and I don't find it slow. I'm curious to see where it's going. I just looked up an article with Jack Schaefer, the showrunner, who also was involved with WandaVision. I think she ran that too, and it has that feel like it might be slow to develop. There are things happening that I feel like you're going to pay off later. You're going to understand more. In fact, that's after Tara and I watched 3, 4, and 5. We went back and watched 1 because it made more sense. We also watched episodes 1 and 2 of WandaVision to revisit that when Catherine Hahn showed up. One of the things
went down the rabbit hole.
Oh, for sure.
You went down the road?
Yes. The road. This article, but it was asking about Wiccan and Billy Maximoff and certain things, and I just found it, so I didn't really read it, but it was kind of like, I'm going to be a lot of this interview, I'm going to be saying, wait till the future episodes. So I feel like there's a lot that's going to be explained, a lot that's going to be revealed. One of, by far, my favorite things about this show is that they are doing so many practical effects. It's a show about witches and magic and other worlds, and there is very minimal green screen, if any. There's no green screen, I read, in the road, that forest. Awesome. They're doing as many practical effects as possible, and the actors are loving it because it's such a vivid world. It's magic. They are doing so much with editing and acting and cuts that things you're like, another show would have had the costume changing part. You could have had morphing and clothes flying around, and it was done pretty much in camera, editing, whatever, for the most part. Awesome. There's a whole scene where Patty Lupone's character writes out the names, or she wrote out on the paper, I think it was the names, I guess, of the Coven people. And it was like her acting. She stops. There's lighting going on. She's writing, it's all done practically. Or even the scene where Agatha goes and she goes to the crib and the lighting changes. She goes over it. There's so much done that in camera, on set, as opposed to just doing it later in post. And I love it. I love that they're being creative. And it gives it a cool feel for the actors. And I think watching it, I love it. I love looking for these things. I'm like, another show would have totally just did that later with some sort of special effect.
Yeah,
and
it's never as good. Yeah.
And and it may be good, but we've seen it. Anything that you can do now, you can do. And I've read it's one of the less expensive shows they've done because so much of it is done with the sets and the creativity, in-camera creativity. And I really, really like that. And it makes it exciting to watch and see what they're going to do next.
And your actors are in the environment, so you're going to get better, easier performances, right? It just makes perfect sense.
Yeah, you've got talent. You got Patty Lapone. You got this great group of actors that they can do it. They can deliver. They can do what you want, and they're probably enjoying it and reacting to real things. And like, instead of you're going to look at this paper and names are going to be appearing. So be all, it's like, no, you're writing and you're feverishly, you're stopping because something grabs you like a force. Like they're getting to play these things instead of, all right, here's what you're going to see. Act like you're seeing it.
This
Act
tennis
like
ball,
there's this thing. Yeah.
exactly, is a witch.
So that I think it's very well done, even though it's not what I would normally, if it wasn't Disney Marvel kind of thing. It probably, I don't know if I'd watch it, but I think it's very well done, and I do like the humor. So there you go. I'm curious to see. Did you see they released a trailer for the last half of the season?
Oh,
Yeah, they survived the bog apparently. So
Well, yeah.
okay.
it looks like we do get some backstory on how. I mean, you can read on how Billy met this character Wiccan as Billy Maximoff and how he comes to be, but it looks like we're gonna get some backstory. So
That's exciting. Yeah. Very cool. I'm into it, and there's 9 episodes total. So, and the last episode. Oh, okay. I'm looking at IMDb.
4 more.
It looks like episode 8 and 9 are both going to be available on October 30th.
How appropriate.
So that's very cool, just in time for Halloween. And yeah, I'm excited. I like having I like shows that release once a week. I prefer that to just binging something. It's more of a communal experience,
Yeah.
It's way more fun. And
Gives people time to watch it and talk about
and
it.
process it and think
Yeah.
about it. Yeah, I love that. I miss that about old school TV. But no, this is great. Can't wait. Can't wait for next episode.
Yeah, I have no idea where it's going to go.
And
What's
I
going to happen. And I
saw on episode 6 and 8, I think it is, that there is an intimacy coordinator credited.
Heyo!
Okay, come on, let's do this.
Teased that there's some gay stuff, and I've been burned in the past, where I think more gay stuff's gonna happen and it doesn't. So I'm not letting myself get too excited, but
Okay, that's fair.
I'm hoping it.
Okay, let's see. Fingers crossed.
I've been underwhelmed by the
Whelmed.
gay, by
I
the gay
understand.
stuff lately.
You
So
know, sometimes
I get it. I get it.
I mean, it's I don't know how far they'll go. I mean, Kat, do you know what level of physicality do you have to have for an intimacy coordinator? Is it just a kiss? Does there have to be nudity? You know what the limit is?
No, it's really up to the performers. It's up to the production. Like you can have it for a kiss. You can have it for full on simulated sexual intercourse. It really depends on the show and the people involved.
Episode 6 comes out today, right? It's Tuesdays?
No,
Is that
tomorrow.
right?
Wednesday.
Tomorrow. Okay.
Wednesdays.
6
Well,
p.m.
we'll find out tomorrow.
Oh boy, can't wait. All right, cool. More to come. So yeah, we'll dip into Agatha every now and then, but we'll for sure. I think on those 2 finale episodes, we'll definitely do some deep dives and an overall look back, and hopefully there's more to come after this first season. I mean, obviously it ties into the rest of the Marvel universe, right? So I'm sure Billy will be in some movies and stuff, but we'll see.
Anything's possible in Marvel. I mean, they said Wanda's dead, but they're like, don't worry, she'll be back. So
I mean, no one's ever really
no one's
dead.
ever really dead. Maybe.
know that.
What do you think the odds are that she shows up in this show? Any at all?
Oh, interesting. That'd be kind of dope.
Even in a flashback, even in some like vision in her head, you never know. It doesn't have to be.
Well, I
really
saw
early.
an interview with Joe Locke saying that he didn't. Well, he said he didn't get to work with her, but he would love to work with her with Elizabeth Olsen at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
that
Ryan
doesn't
Reynolds said he hoped to work with
necessarily
his wife someday, and then
Yeah,
she was in
I mean, he
Deadpool.
might
So
just be
And then
flat out lying.
What's
but-
her name said that I'm not the new She-Hulk, and she was in fact
Right. She
She-Hulk.
was adamantly saying she was not She-Hulk.
I don't trust anything.
Tatiana Maslany.
Tatiana Maslany. Thank you. Tatiana is a big old liar.
Yeah.
But NDAs are very powerful. It's a powerful thing.
Mhm.
An NDA from Disney.
Yeah.
Look, if Marvel pays attention to anything fans say online, and they do, and we'll get to more about fans and Disney in the future, but they know people love Wanda, and I think if there's a way to make story sense, and if they could get her, they would.
Oh, for sure.
So
Yeah, they love Wanda and they love Robert Downey Jr.
yeah, we do. Brought him back. Anyway,
Sure did.
well, that's been a quick, short podcast.
Oh yeah, just a
Us.
quickie.
Just our normal.
I just want to say real quick, I forgot to mention, the Earptopia organizers asked me to do a CBC Calgary radio interview, and I did that on the Saturday of the con. It was a live interview. It was really fun to talk to Chris, the radio host guy, and it was so fun. And my wife Leah, who I'm married to, she recorded it on her phone because you can't find it. They don't for some reason they didn't clip my interview for future archives. But I'm gonna run that interview at the end of this episode. So if you guys want to hear it,
Fun.
you can hear me going on and on about how great Winona is and how much fun being in Calgary was. So that was great. Thank you, CBC Calgary. And again, big shout out. We are produced by Jackie of Jackie and Buster. So thank you, Jackie, for all your producing skills. We appreciate it very much.
Makes things happen.
Jackie gets it done, man. I'll tell you what.
Right.
All right. That's all I got.
That's a lot. That's plenty. It was a very good interview, Kat. We all listened almost
thank you so
immediately
much.
after it was over.
And then you made fun of me.
Rootin' tootin'. Just keep that phrase in mind. Rootin' tootin'.
Rootin' tootin'. Wendy, are you on the surface of the sun?
Looks like it. I'm missing a blind. I have them drawn. There's one missing, and of course it's the one. I should move another one from the far end. I guess I never thought about doing that because it's the one that hits me right in the face.
You should probably do that.
Now that I thought of it, after it's been
get
gone
burnt.
for like 6 months, I have just a
Yes.
strip of sun down my face.
Can't
Hey,
be
we're on
good.
Twitter for now. You never know what's going to go on with that thing. At Snot Podcast with 1D.
And Facebook and Instagram at She Nerds Out Podcast.
You can send us an email at shenerdsOut@gmail.com. Go to our website, shenerdsOut.com, for all your snopping needs. If you're new to the podcast, if you found us recently, can you please subscribe? We'd love it. And then if you could rate and review us, 5 stars only. If you have constructive criticism, you can email us. Otherwise, we'd love to hear about your glowing reviews on iTunes and Spotify.
All right. Well, till the next week. Guess we'll see you then. And for all you new listeners, here's how we always end our show. She nerds out.
Out.
She nerds out. We're girls that like nerdy things. Nerdy things.
This is your Friday afternoon home stretch. The time is 4:19. Hundreds of Winona Earp superfans are in Calgary for a Rootin' Tootin' weekend, a convention for the TV show that was filmed mostly in the Calgary area, is now on through Sunday. It's called Earptopia, and it gives fans a chance to meet the cast and hear from the production crew as well. Kat Crimmins calls herself an Earper. That's something that fans like to call themselves, and she traveled all the way from Los Angeles to volunteer at the convention. Hello there.
Hey, how are you? Thanks for having me.
I'm great, Kat. Thanks for joining us. So I guess, first of all, can you describe the TV show for someone who's never seen it?
Oh, sure. So Winona Earp is sort of a sci-fi fantasy western horror show with a cast full of incredible, characters that you can't help but fall in love with action. It's sexy. It's got a little bit of everything.
All right. And so you are volunteering at this event. What will you be doing?
So I'm actually going to be moderating some of the fan panel. So, we have, as you said, we have some of the original cast and crew members. So we like to ask them all kinds of questions about behind the scenes of the show, about what they have going on now. But it's, I'll be moderating some panels along with some other great moderators. And it's a chance for fans to, get to know the actors.
Oh, that's fun. Kind of a dream come true for a super fan, I would imagine.
It really is. I still kind of pinch myself every now and then that I get to do this. So yeah, it's a huge honor, and it's just so much fun.
Yeah, I understand that you got to visit Didsbury yesterday. You got to check out some of the filming locations. What was that like?
Didsbury was great. So it was an entire day. It's called Didsbury Day. It was part of the convention. Other Earpers, it was about 200 of us descended upon the town. And the town was ready for us. They were welcoming. Honestly, it was so. We met the mayor.
Oh, that's cool.
The mayor, Mayor Rhonda. It was great. The town could not have been more welcoming, and we just had a great time.
So did Didsbury look the way that it does in the show?
It really did. I mean, there's definitely a lot that they had to do to kind of, cater to the show, to the script. But, like, honestly, just walking down the main street, you felt like you were in the show. It really does look a lot like the town of Purgatory, which is where the town in the show takes place.
Purgatory, right. So this is huge,
Yeah.
and clearly this must mean a lot to you for you to travel all the way from California for this. Why did you want to take part in this event?
So I'm a huge TV fan. I love TV. I love genre TV. I love sci-fi, fantasy stuff. And the show really kind of, for someone like me, I'm a member of the queer community. I'm a big nerd. And it has a little bit of everything. And when you find a show like that, it's not like any other show on the air. So you want to be loyal to it. You want to make sure that the producers and the writers know what it means to you. And we just want to show up for them. We want to show up for them and make sure everyone else knows that we want more of the show and we want more shows like this. And it's also an excuse to get together with friends that you haven't seen in a while. You know, people from all over the world are in Calgary this weekend just for this convention. And it's people who are new to the show or that have been watching since the very beginning. And you make friendships and, you have these little they're like almost like reunions, right? These conventions kind of turn into like found family reunions. So it's a good excuse to get together, but also have a good time and geek out about your favorite show.
That's so great. And it's worth noting, too, that this show has been off the air for about 3 years now. It was on for 4 seasons, started in 2016. Tell me more about what it is that you love about it. I mean, you mentioned the community that's been built around the fandom, but tell me about, your connection to the show itself and why it means so much to you.
Sure. So one of the core relationships on this show is actually it's a queer ship, a queer relationship as we call it, and it's actually the name of the ship is Way Hot. It's 2 of the characters' names put together, but the show came out around the time that a lot of queer characters on television shows were getting killed off. It's a trope that is called bury your gays. And with this show, the creator, Emily Andras, made it very clear to us that this is not going to be one of those shows, that she's not going to take away these 2 queer women away from us. And how can you not be loyal to that? So that's a big draw for me. And also, I love genre TV. I grew up watching The X-Files and Xena Warrior Princess and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So it kind of checks a lot of boxes for me as a TV fan. And everyone's so approachable and friendly. So, like, you can talk to the actors about, insider kind of scoop stuff, and you can tell the creator of the show what you liked about it and what you didn't like about it. It's just, It's so unique that this is not like any other fandom I've ever been a part of.
Yeah, having the access with the creators is really interesting. And I know that you have a podcast called This Earper Life, which reminds me of the long-running, very popular NPR show, This American Life. Why did you want to start a podcast about this?
So my friend Ann and I, we were both podcasters. We met during COVID, during the lockdown, and we were fans of each other's podcasts, and we decided, hey, let's make sort of like, a Earper version of This American Life. And because we wanted to kind of not just get behind the scenes of the show itself with the creators behind it, but we wanted to kind of take a look at the fandom, because it really is like sort of one of the mottos of the show is everyone's welcome, and that transcends into the fandom. So it's very inclusive. And I'll be, I keep saying it, but communities have come out around the show. There's so many stories to tell that, and since we're both huge podcast nerds, it was like, well, this is a no-brainer. We have to start making a podcast about this show. So it's been fun, and yeah, it's a lot of work. I'm sure I don't have to tell you that. But it's so much fun. We love it, and we're hoping that after this weekend we can meet some more people who would love to be on the Earper Life.
Oh, that sounds fun, for sure. We're just about out of time, Kat, but for people who've never seen the show, why should they consider checking it out and learning about the show itself and then maybe eventually the fan community?
if you're a fan of genre TV, if you like sci-fi, you like fantasy, horror, if you like westerns, this is a show for you. Also, if you like crazy, wild dialogue, if you like strong female characters, if you like queer relationships, it has something for everybody. And honestly, everyone is welcome. It's hard not to fall in love with the show if you start watching it. I think people should give it a shot.
That's awesome. Well, have fun in Calgary this weekend, Kat. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
That's Kat Crimmins, a Winona Earp super fan from Los Angeles. She's here in Calgary for Earptopia 2024, a convention that runs from today until Sunday. Well, City Slickers were treated to a surprise at lunchtime earlier this week as a small herd of cattle was driven through downtown Edmonton. The spectacle was to mark the start of the Canadian Finals Rodeo.